Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to Baishon Man in the Leo. The OG Leo, if I'm not mistaken. No stabilizer, no pay-to-win oversized cannon, just good old fat... Oh! APDS. What an absolute Chad. So welcome one and all. It's great to be back doing replay videos. It's great to be back making videos. I took a break until the new year, more or less. I did end up making a few videos, but one of the things that I encourage all of you that are interested in the creative process is if there's ever anything that you need to do where you need to be able to think smoothly, the last thing you want to do is just to focus like crazy on something. Unless you really feel like it. I don't know how much sense that makes, but there comes a time where you have to turn the pressure all the way off, drain the hose, and roll it up and put it away for a little while and just go do something else or do nothing. What I ended up doing is playing a lot, and I mean a lot, of Kenshi. It's funny, whenever I take a break from War Thunder, playing or making videos or both, there's almost always some other game that I get really passionate about, and I record tons and tons of footage and do nothing with it. I mean, it's dangerous. If I make videos for another game, I might even get new subscribers. And who wants that? Anyway, Baishon Man showing us how it's done with a couple of very cheeky one-shot kills into the sides of enemies. He's got a great position here with a good amount of cover. He can see over the cover. He can move to aim between these rocks and only expose the tiniest portion of his tank, and he is about a second or two to safety from most of the angles where the enemy will be coming from. This is what you would call perfect positioning in War Thunder, and it paid off for him already. He has enough spawn points that if he was going to die right now, he'd be able to respawn in something awesome with jet engines like the Narwhal. No reason I mentioned that, of course. Anyway, this is a little bit of an older replay, so there's going to be a little bit more video weirdness because my graphics card, I think what ended up happening, I think I figured this out, is that Kenshi is a game that runs on sort of an older 3D rendering setup, direct 3D, and it ends up filling up and almost, I guess, muddling the memory of my graphics card so that I have to restart the computer. It's called manually dumping the memory when you do. Maybe it's not. I have to reset the memory, so I have to restart my computer. That thing is dead, Baishon. But that would have killed it if it wasn't already dead. So I have to restart my computer after playing Kenshi before I record video, or there'll be some artifacts and glitches, and sometimes it'll even jump from one moment to another because the recording software basically just goes down for a while. Anyway, all of that has very little bearing on what's happening now. Baishon Man in a perfect position, no reason to move. His team is holding the line. If you look at the map, you can imagine a line between him, Red Rover, and his teammates, and he is in exactly the right position to hold his part of the front. It's tempting when you're doing well to push forward and advance. And lucky the APDS didn't bounce off of the upper frontal plate of that, what's that, a BT? No. A beach thing? No, one of those, I know I'll think of it. It's been too long, man. I gotta get back into War Thunder. And man, I'm excited about playing War Thunder. I've been playing the event, and then I've been playing more even on top of that, just because there's something else that that I'll tell you about in a bit. But I have this premium aircraft that I haven't flown for ages. Oh no, that's a bad sign. Is that an ally? Is that the German one? Yeah, okay. So he took down the Russian one, and there's the German whatever the hell that thing is called. So there's this premium aircraft that I haven't flown quite a bit. In fact, it's a Focke-Wulf, the American Focke-Wulf actually. And I was never really impressed with the aircraft, and I found out it's because I've been flying it wrong. In fact, I got a taste of how to fly it right, and it has really taught me something valuable that I've used with the P-47, but it's even more effective in terms of this Focke-Wulf. So I'm really enjoying that aircraft right now, getting into Tank RB matches and looking for a chance to fly out. And with the XP, what is it? XA something or other, Grizzly, one of my favorite vehicles in the whole game. Not quite so effective since it's difficult to one-shot things with the 75 these days, which, I mean, it seems like kind of a surprise, but that's the way things are right now. And anyway, that has nothing to do with the stalemate. Stalemate broken. It's time to push forward. But right, the missile, the ATGM, Baishon Man, aware of it, but a little bit awkward in his positioning here. And I think he might have panicked a little bit there, getting caught up on the terrain, and it cost him. He was already in a position where he had pushed forward. Again, I told you, it's tempting to push forward, but you really don't want to unless you have to in this game. Baishon Man caught out of position and taken down by the superior firepower of whatever the hell that little flat APC is. BMP, that's right, the BMP. Thanks for telling me that one. But with already 3 kills and an assist, and now respawning in a beautifully reskinned Tiger Shark variant of the ME262A1U4 Narwhal, my absolute darling, Baishon Man of 1st FG Squadron, taking the fight to the enemy now in close air support. Cannon Cass, currently in War Thunder, is the king of Cass once again. It seems like Gaijin are always adjusting how ordnance works in the game, and that's a reasonable thing to do. Even a complicated game like War Thunder is still far from perfectly representing the way that anti-tank and anti-everything else ordnance works, all the weapons and add-on stuff you can carry on a plane, and in an attempt to come closer to that and to also create a fair, fun, and exciting gameplay. That is no easy task, and what that means is that Gaijin is constantly fiddling with how rockets, bombs, missiles, cannons, flight models, all that stuff is getting updated constantly. You can't afford to fall in love with a single aircraft because that aircraft's performance, even the way it plays, will change. One of the things that we've noticed with the last couple of major updates is that bombs do not kill the way they used to. In fact, I don't think they even fly the way they used to, and there will be more changes coming to bombs. Rockets have already gotten the working over, and yet they still, in keeping with other large high explosive rounds, they keep getting adjusted as well. There was a time where the amount of spalling and shrapnel from a high explosive rocket was just ridiculously small. It was ludicrous. You'd watch an HVAR explode, and there would be like a dozen little pieces of shrapnel flying off of it. Absolutely ludicrous. Because shrapnel is the only thing that does damage in this game. There's no model for the shockwave or any kind of concussive effect. So it's based entirely upon this digital shrapnel taking something down. Rockets and bombs, they continue to fluctuate in their effectiveness. Right now, I'd say rockets are actually a little bit more reliable than bombs are. But maybe I just need to learn to dive bomb again. That's one of those things that if you get really good, and you can get your bombs on target, especially if you can afford to drop from a further distance away and get them to explode in time. And I know I'm not saying very much about what Baishon Man is doing, but I promise this is on topic. If you have the skill, you can make bombs work for you. If you have the skill, if you develop this, skill's not something you have. Skill is something that you produce and maintain. Does that make sense? You work for it. And the people who are incredibly skilled at this game have put in the time, and they train in a smart and effective way. Just playing regular battles is not always the best way to train yourself. If you want to learn how to dive bomb, build a custom battle, fill it with bots, and dive bomb things. The way people move in a match is not all that different from the way bots move when it comes to dropping bombs on them. So you'll get a lot more practice in a custom battle. Now, another thing to note here is this is a replay, and one of the things I've noticed about the narwhal is a lot of the rounds just don't show up in a replay. So you can tell he's doing gun runs here. You can tell he's shooting, he gets his sight lined up, and it bounces. You see it bouncing, and then nothing comes out. And I promise, like that, I swear that never happens to me. But there'll be a lot of bouncing and not a lot of squirting rounds out of that 50 mil on the replay. And yet they very much exist in the game. It's just a replay bug. All of that is to say, Cannon Cass is the king of the hill right now, and these vertical maneuvers that Baishon Man is using are exactly what I would recommend. The roof armor of enemy vehicles is almost always thin enough to be penetrated by most of the effective cannon rounds in the game. One downside is you're going to end up doing less post-pen damage, and you know, on the surface of it, you would say, well, it's going in and it's exploding just like everything else. But the amount of volume of the enemy vehicle that gets affected by your round is a lot smaller. What do I mean by that? I'd shoot somebody in the front of the hole and punch through, and that shrapnel is going through the full length of the vehicle, and that's the end of the match. I've got so much more to say. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about with Cannon Cass, and you know what? I just gotta make a video on it in the future. Baishon Man, you've been a real sport. I enjoyed watching your gameplay. I ended up just talking about the things that I like to talk about when I'm showing one of my own matches, and I think that's because you play a lot like the way I do. Anyway, guys, feel free to send in your own replays and to connect with me on Discord. That is the best place to reach me, especially since I get distracted a lot, as you may have noticed during this commentary. Catch you guys in the next video. Oh, there's a link to the description. No, there's a link to the Discord in the description. I hope I mentioned that. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.